This week, what would you say is the biggest buzzword? Well, given everything, I think it'll have to be cybersecurity, snooping, and all of that. And with that, I'm going to invite my next guest, the co-founder of Safe Security, formerly called Listidius, in the news for raising $33 million from a clutch of investors, the round being led by BT. Existing investors like former Cisco chairman John Chambers also participating. Saket, always a pleasure talking to you. $33 million. The fundraise coinciding with the global Pegasus Snoopgate. Congratulations, but do you think given everything you missed an opportunity to raise more?
But Nanta, the other way of looking at it is, it might be timed and it might be exactly what we wanted to raise. So you never know about what happens in hacking, right? So, but yeah, we've been fortunate, and I think exciting times for us, Nanta.
So, I wanted to ask you first about the fundraiser, $33 million. What exactly are you going to be using these funds for?
And we've been growing very fast. I've been on your show so many times talking about our growth numbers and launch of our new products. Now, of course, we're truly global. I'm dialing in from Palo Alto, and we are now operational in more than 12 countries around the world. So we will be using the fund to further accelerate the growth. Last year was incredible for us. We grew 270% year over year. And this year we aim to beat that number. So it's going to be all about the growth. My engineering team will double. I have currently around 100 engineers, which will go to 200, and my total team size will grow from 200 to 300 people.
Saket, I cannot have a cybersecurity expert like you on the show and not ask you about the hot topic of the week, right? I think what all of us back home want to know is my smartphone safe? Is anyone snooping? Can you tell our viewers, is there any way for a smartphone user to figure that out?
Well, there are a couple of ways in which you can figure out, but remember it depends on the type of snooping also. There are some basic ways by which people can snoop into you. Something as basic as coming onto your WhatsApp and just linking the WhatsApp to the WhatsApp web. And I see that happening all the time where without people knowing, they just, somebody else will take their phone and connect WhatsApp web, and they start monitoring the messages while the person doesn't have any clue that there's somebody who's actually monitoring. That can be something as basic as that, all the way up to Pegasus, the real buzzword, which is out there right now, which uses a number of zero-day exploits which are available out there in Nanta, and unfortunately all of that is very real. It's very doable, and it is happening to people. And it's not just in India, it's across the globe. And remember, we've seen the world's richest man, Jeff Bezos, and his mobile phone being hacked. So there are multiple ways to hack. And the way you actually look at yourself, the number one way I would say to make sure you're secured is make sure your operating system is updated. It eliminates more than almost 90% of the attacks which are possible. And then of course you need two-factor authentication, and don't download apps from which are not on the App Store or the Play Store, and the usual stuff which is out there.
But Saket, what we've been hearing since this entire Pegasus story has broken out, people are looking to go in for scrubbing their phones. They're trying to run forensic diagnostics. How does that happen?
So the way it works is, Nanta, as you know, a phone is like any other system. Whenever anything happens, it leaves logs or it leaves traces. Anything, when you unlock your phone using your facial recognition or your biometrics, when you click on an app, all of that creates what you call as logs or events within the phone itself. Basically, the way forensics works is it basically tries to see the apps which Pegasus was trying to snoop into. It would look at certain logs which are associated to the same and try and see that if there were people who, basically any abnormal logs, any access which was given to people who shouldn't have had the access. And that's how you actually go ahead and do a forensic analysis of a phone which is out there.
So can a layman scrub their phone clean, or do they have to go to a specialist? And if yes, then where in India?
Well, when you talk about scrubbing or cleaning your phone, Nantara, I mean, and it's pretty effective when you actually go ahead and completely wipe your phone, which basically says erase all data. The way the memory of the phone, especially all the iPhones and most of the phones which are Android, not all, but most, they use the electronic form of data storage. There are two types of data storage. One is the flash memory and one is the old school magnetic memory which is out there. The flash memory doesn't really store in layers, so when you erase certain things, a lot of it really gets erased for good. While on the other side, when you have phones which are magnetic storage based, you actually have layer on layer on layer, and then there's a way to extract the data even after it's deleted. And therefore, it's recommended you use an expert to go ahead and erase it in the right way. And there's some good tools which you can use on those lines also.
Are you going to get into this business?
Services business, Nantara, not very scalable, and the gross margins are very small. That's one thing you get to learn from being a global SaaS company which is running at 80% gross margins, right? You don't get the multipliers business like that. So the short answer, no, we don't plan to get into it.
So you continue to focus. Okay, so you're going to continue focusing on enterprise solutions, but tell me something, since the pandemic, and we've all been reading, even in India and overseas, about the cybersecurity attacks. We kept talking about how hackers are bored, they're locked in, that's what they were doing, right? How did you keep up with them?
Yeah, so Nantara, that's where, the world today needs a thermometer of cybersecurity. If you think about it, right, there is so much talks about Pegasus, about ransomware, there's a ton of cybersecurity issues out there. But if I asked you a simple question, how secure is your phone right now? Or if I asked you how secure is your laptop right now, you don't have an answer. And 99.9% of the people on the planet using a smartphone or using a laptop do not have an answer. So that's what we're trying to solve, Nantara. What we're trying to do is, how can you quantify the breach likelihood of your laptop, of your cell phone, of your servers? And that's the reason why our partnership with British Telecom becomes so strategic, because as BT, they actually play in a very strong way, not only in the consumer segment as a telco, they have 31 million plus subscribers, but the more important thing for us has been their enterprise and small and medium business accounts, because this is a problem across the spectrum. And given our product, because we have a mobile app and an enterprise solution, we can actually use British Telecom as a gateway, as a channel to get an access to their millions of subscribers and thousands of enterprise users, where this massive problem of cybersecurity not being seen in an objective way exists today. So that's the reason why it's so exciting for us, Nantara.
Certainly is exciting, and big bucks that you have raised. With that, Saket, we're completely out of time. Many thanks for joining us here on ET Now. Wishing you and the entire team all the very best.
Thank you so much for having me, Nantara. Always a pleasure.